Naruto 577. Okay, this chapter was awesome. You pretty much got everything you wanted. You can just go down the list and check it off. You get some action with character development, a lot of different characters. You get to see what they're doing, and a lot of interesting combinations. I mean, you sort of got to see the Kages go at it and everything. Okay, I'm going to jump around a lot. Let me bring up another subject. Okay, we are now discussing, and if you haven't read it, please go stop the video and go read it first. But we're talking about 577. I am. I have a subscription, a current subscription to this site. I get the Shonen Jump Alpha. The section of it in Naruto is up to 574. Okay, and I'm actually paying for this. Okay, and it's at 574. Now I realize that I'm getting into a subject that I actually was really trying to avoid, But and of course, what's available is 577. So, well, anyway, I'm doing my part. I am supporting not just Naruto, but all the other content that you get. I'm definitely paying for it. But just to reiterate what you already know and what's been discussed quite a bit, it's kind of crazy to pay for content that's 574. Okay, I'm literally have it right here. Okay, it's 574, but 577 is available. Okay, anyway, enough enough complaining, at least on that point. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that kind of questions the situation where things are in right now. Okay, what else? What else do we have here? All right, now, of course, the beginning, some good dialogue. Well, that's another issue. Okay, let me hop back. The 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 site that most of us used to go to, which no longer exists anymore, and I didn't realize how good. I kept hearing, the translations are really good. The translations, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's great. And now we're reading this in the translations. Yeah, I think that's another point. I'm just going to bring up, and I'm sure everybody's acquainted with it. So there's a lot. And for whatever reason, I really noticed that this chapter. Of course, there's a lot of interesting dialogue in this chapter. For whatever reason, this chapter, there's a lot of things in there that just kind of, So, but I mean, what do you want? That's the situation. That is the situation that we have. Okay, I'm going to jump around quite a bit because if you've already read it, you already pretty much know what's going on. Just add a few little notes here, and a lot of jumping around. Okay, Tsunade and Dan. That to me is a really interesting thing, and people have kind of go, well, we talked to Dan. I mean, that really looks like. I mean, there she is, Tsunade on a, on a sword on a stick, and then Dan, just of all people, is having. So the whole thing with her and Dan being able to hold a conversation somehow, something happens and that gets to happen. That would actually be really, really, really awesome. I mean, and I think, of course, everybody should know, how important Dan was to her, and how traumatic she was trying to save him, and he basically bled to death, and there she is trying to save him, and that whole issue there. So if they could get reunited and have a conversation, it would be pretty interesting, to say the least. Well, there's Madara is pretty awesome, though. I mean, you have to admit the whole five Kage Madara thing, and they're all dramatically outclassed, of course. So we're just waiting to get this. And as already been mentioned, I think that one of the things I just got done watching a review actually before I did this. They pointed out basically used the terminology the whole thing whenever they had gone through the series of events to go ahead and get Madara to try to seal him. Of course, it didn't work. But the whole concept that they were going to be able to seal, that these people together had if there was an ability to seal Madara, is just, But anyway, I have a feeling when this comes out, they already knew that. So, because you know how these things kind of play out. But needless to say, that was if that would have went on, oh wow, I could imagine the reaction. That would not have been a good thing. Um, let's see. There's a lot, but most of this stuff it was not really very complex. Like I say, the whole um, you know Dan and Sonati thing. I think that's going to happen, and of course, um, the whole thing with Itachi and how is that going to play out? Oh, it was kind of nice, making predictions. I've been saying for many chapters that I thought that Itachi, of course, was going to go stop the, Kabuto, but that he and his brother, would meet probably there, and of course they met before, and now they're all three. So I made a prediction. I'm going to go ahead, you make predictions, and when some of them come true, it's awesome. So those three are there. How is that going to play out? Jumping right to the end, and is well. Anyway, I've already pretty much said before. What I think is going to happen is, of course, Kabuto. It's too easy. I'm sure that he's got some and that's something that people didn't really bring up. I don't know why they would think. Why would anybody think that all the reanimated corpses would be out in the field already? Why wouldn't people think that he would have some? I mean, he's been holding back stuff this whole time, right? Even Madara and everybody to play it out, to play the cards out in the correct, when he needed to. So I think, which I've already said in another video, that there's going to be, if you think it's interesting now, okay, because everybody's, ooh, Itachi and Sasuke, which is interesting, extremely interesting, right? We've been waiting for this for so long, but I think people are waiting for it so long that they're not thinking of what's going to happen, which I'm making a prediction that Kabuto is going to bring out some people. Okay, who are they going to be? They're going to have to fight their own father? Or, I mean, I'm not sure if, who from the village would be, I don't think it's been sealed, feedback, I don't think so. So they'd have to fight their own father, and I mean, there's huge group of people that Kabuto could have already prearranged just for if somebody crashed his party, because he seems pretty cautious, right? He always has extra stuff, regardless of whether he thinks it's a high probability of something happening. Anyhow, it seems, just my own opinion. So that brings up the potential. That's something that, like I said, I'm kind of surprised. So I wouldn't doubt that he's going to pop up some other individuals, and Kishi would probably going to make it pretty interesting, whoever they are. And then, like I say, you have the whole reunion of. It's been a while since we really had the reunion kind of. Remember, we had a lot of that in the beginning, maybe too much, and now maybe we're going to start having even more of it. So that's something to look out for. Well, let's see. Oh wow, there's and another thing too, and this goes to a problem. Another reason I brought up the thing with the translations. If, as you well know, if the terminology and everything can be way off, then we're going to sit there and certain comments on characters or whatever are going to be incorrect. It's not. I don't think it's a big giant leap of logic or anything. So that's going to make it a lot more difficult for us, and then we have to wait 2 to 3 weeks to get what's hopefully going to be a better translation. But we'll see. But anyway, you know what? Even with that, with whatever hassles and everything, the combat was just incredible this week. I could see quite a bit. And you know what I don't buy? Sonati has actually been, she has the temper and the power and everything else. But you know what? And it's just been, that Sonati on his stick, she's not going to die that way. I think everybody knows that isn't going to work. And also, everybody knows, look, you can't kill this guy. It isn't just the amount of power. He's in this Uo Tensei, and he'll just reform. And so anyway, and they're not going to be able to seal him. So for me, this whole thing is I mean, if you really think about it, the 5 cages, as much fun as it is for us to watch it, which it is a lot of fun, but it's just I mean, pretty much I have to agree with Madara. It's just a game that's being played, right? Because if Kishimoto wants to get rid of a character or whatever, my own feeling is it isn't going to be in this fight. Okay? So, I mean, that's my own feeling. But anyway, so I'm thinking if there's any points I'm kind of missing here. It was a good chapter. It was let's say a great chapter, and everybody else that I've seen has actually been extraordinarily happy with it too. I mean, I like the balance of it. You know, you've got some action, you get to move, and this was something I've been complaining about before. Is I would rather, which I think most, and I think that you would agree with me, is that would prefer to see you know, some of this here and some of that there, and kind of jump around a bit to give us more a feel of what's going on instead of spending all our time in one area and then just being completely clueless of what's going on around. At least some kind of update or what have you. But anyway, oh yeah, going back to the Kagis, there is something. I believe I mentioned it. Excuse me. I believe I mentioned it last week, but I'm not sure. But the whole reason that I'm probably just repeating myself from last week, that Madara wants to kill her first is I think that there's some reaction between her grandfather, right, and her. And I think that the trauma of her regeneration and everything may actually even bring her grandfather, who realized he just kept saying Zoo, you know, Z with 3 U's. Well, anyway, it may bring him actually to a more of a state of awareness. He may even take over from Madara. I mean, that's the kind of thing that could happen. Or it may, which is what I think I said last week, is it will unlock the proximity of her grandfather, could unlock some ability within her, you know, some genetic, maybe a bloodline ability or something. So there's a lot of potential, a tremendous amount of potential to happen there. Really interesting. Like I say, if you go back and this is one of the chapters that's so good, you know, it's kind of, I guess the way I rate them is how many times to go back to reread it, you know, how many times when you go back to reread it, of course, it's still interesting, you're still seeing some new things, some different angles and everything. Great chapter, absolutely awesome. It's gonna, and just throwing this in here, the whole thing about the series going to end this year or whatever, I mean, it may, I mean, who knows, but my own feeling is it isn't. I think this thing's going to keep going. Even he said it's going to reach the climax of this or whatever. It's something I've seen from these, what seems to go with Kishimoto is a lot of things that he says. It seems like the majority of things he says he's going to do or try to emphasize what's going to happen for the next year have a tendency of not happening, and he's even basically, you know, said that. So, anyhow, trying to see. Yeah, a lot of fun, wasn't it? He even summoning the crows for his brother, you know, Itachi and Sasuke. I mean, just a lot of cool stuff, and the abilities of this. Well, you're seeing this as sound news. I mean, even just an arm here and there smashing through the wall. I mean, you're just seeing a lot of a lot of fun. So, but anyway, I mean, those are my predictions. Go ahead and put down yours. This is. Well, I mean, really, this is what I read. I don't really read a whole lot of other stuff, and I realize that. And I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying everybody, you know, go out and read as much as you want and have fun with it. But but anyway, I want to go ahead and wrap it up here. I could just go on and on. There's quite a bit, but I think I've hit the main points. Well, anyway, it was a lot of fun. A great Kishimoto. You know, thank you. I know you don't. I know you don't, you know, subscribe to my channel, but thank you very much anyhow. I'm sure everyone viewing this would do the same, especially this week. This is a really good week to thank the author for it, because everybody seems pretty happy with it. Okay, that was 577, and if you would please Give me a thumbs up if you want to. It doesn't cost you anything. It's nice to see the thumbs up if you think it deserves it. And if not, and you do it, I'll be happy. I'll be just as happy. So anyway, if you want to, you can subscribe. You can always unsubscribe later. You can do whatever you want. Until next time, take care.